Well, it's widely agreed that the SoA as an instrument to deliver advice to clients is not an effective one. In fact, many advisors prefer to create their own alternative summaries of the SoA in order to better articulate their advice and to encourage clients increase understanding of the advice, which is the goal here. The advice industry is still very much a paper-based industry, although adoption of technology certainly has increased, especially in the back office. Slow progress is still being made when it comes to the client interaction itself. With a multitude of research pointing to the fact that older Australians and older clients are actually turning to technology more and more, I think it's time that we devise better ways to present our advice to clients as opposed to the paper-based SoA. We need to find a way to revive the SoA as an instrument to deliver advice to our clients. One of the best ways to do that is to improve the experience of our clients when it comes to delivering the advice that we've given them. With a better experience for the client, it will increase the client's engagement in the whole process, and that ultimately will lead to a better understanding of the advice that's being given to them and how this impacts their financial situation. At YTML, we have created the concept of a dynamic SoA. A dynamic SoA is a document in which the client can actually interact with the document itself as opposed to just view it. It allows for different ways to understand information to be achieved. As an example, for those who prefers to see information in chart form, they can select a chart view. For those who prefer to see numbers, that option is also available to them through this dynamic SoA as well. The dynamic SoA is a way for clients to view their statement of advice in an interactive manner. The experience is very much like viewing content on a web page. The client can click into certain sections of the SoA, such as the About You section. This is where their information is summarised. In terms of charts and graphs, they can also click into the chart itself to see the actual information or numbers that make up the chart. Clicking through other pages of the SoA, such as the reasons for seeking advice, the scope of my advice, as well as the summary of the advice in terms of superannuation, insurance, how the advice benefits the client, and what this advice will cost them. The other feature of the dynamic SoA is the ability to make certain sections compulsory reading. This is signified by the red asterisk. Once a client clicks through to this section, they'll need to open up the section in order to signify that they are reading it or have read it. The text itself can also be expanded to provide more information should the client wish to see more information, such as, for example, the advice to replace superannuation product. The client can click into the comparison table and see the actual numbers to see how this comparison would benefit them. They can click through to certain sections of the text and make a comment or ask a question. They can save their comment or question for discussion with the advisor later. When that is done, you can see that there is a comment icon that appears. This allows the advisor to know that the client has asked a question or made a comment in that section. The other feature of the dynamic SoA is the ability to print, and if so, the client would get the full SoA.
They can also sign in terms of providing a digital signature to provide a certain consent. Lastly, there is the ability to track the time spent reading. So this allows the advisor to see how much time the client has spent reading each page or section of the SoA. This will give them an indication of whether the client has spent enough time reading important information. And then when they have their face-to-face meeting, the advisor can then focus on the sections that they feel would the client would benefit from more explanation. And that is our dynamic SoA.
As an industry, it's time to divorce ourselves from the world of paper and to embrace the digital era so that we can start to deliver financial advice documents that our clients can actually love.